Welcome to Lincoln Currency. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought it might be worth a fortune? Well, you might want to take another look at your spare change. Because the 1967 Lincoln penny, a simple 1-cent coin that most people overlook, has taken the spotlight in the numismatic world, with rumors and wild claims that one has been valued as high as $98 million. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, potentially worth $98 million. Sounds insane, doesn't it? But let's take a deep dive into why this coin has gained so much attention, what makes it so special, and what the truth really is about its value, rarity, mint mark, errors, and the crazy world of coin collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for seemingly ordinary pieces of metal. First, let's understand the context of the 1967 penny. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008, before the redesign for Lincoln's bicentennial in 2009. The 1967 penny features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, were originally on the reverse in 1909 and later restored beneath Lincoln's shoulder in 1918 on the obverse. Now, let's look at what was going on in 1967 that makes this coin unique. First, the U.S. Mint was still dealing with a massive coin shortage from the early 1960s. To meet the demand, the Mint suspended the use of mint marks from 1965 to 1967. That means all 1967 pennies, regardless of whether they were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, have no mint mark. This was a deliberate move to discourage coin hoarding and collecting based on mint locations. So, every authentic 1967 penny will simply read 1967 with no D, S, or P mint mark underneath. If you ever find a 1967 penny with a mint mark, especially a D or S, it could be a rare error or even a counterfeit. But either way, it would be worth examining very carefully because collectors might pay big bucks for such anomalies. Let's talk numbers. The U.S. Mint struck over 3 billion Lincoln cents in 1967. That's right, 3,048,667,100 coins. With such a high mintage, the majority of 1967 pennies are extremely common, especially in circulated condition. You can still find them in pocket change, old coin jars, or stuck between your couch cushions. A typical worn 1967 penny is only worth its face value, 1 cent. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1967 pennies are worth far more than a cent due to their condition, metal composition, or errors. First, let's look at the composition. In 1967, pennies were still made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, not the cheap copper-plated zinc pennies introduced in 1982. That means a single 1967 penny has about 2 cents worth of copper at current melt values, although melting U.S. pennies for metal value is illegal. Now, condition plays a huge role in value. Uncirculated 1967 pennies, especially those graded MS66 or higher, can sell for a decent premium. A coin in MS67 red, that's mint state, with full red luster, has sold for over $700 at auction. The redder the coin, the more valuable it is. That's because copper oxidizes and turns brown over time, and red coins are much rarer in high grades. But the real buzz in the collector community comes from errors and varieties. These are the coins that turn a 1-cent piece into a treasure trove. Let's break down some of the most valuable types of errors found in 1967 pennies. First up, double dies. A double die error happens when the die itself is engraved incorrectly, causing the coin's design to appear doubled. If you find a 1967 penny with clear doubling on the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust, you might be holding something special. While not many double dies have been confirmed for 1967, the potential for one existing is always a possibility. And even unconfirmed or unlisted varieties can fetch hundreds or thousands from error collectors. Then, there's off-center strikes, where the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be shifted. A 5% or 10% off-center strike may bring $10 to $20, but coins struck 50% off center or more, with full date and mint detail, can bring in $100 or more. Another rare error is the clipped planchet, where a part of the coin is missing due to a flaw in the blank cutting process. A curved clip or straight clip on a 1967 penny might be worth $30 to $100 depending on the severity and visibility of the clip. There are also die cracks, cuds, and brockages, all types of minting mistakes that can occur when dies or planchets fail during striking. These are all highly collectible when dramatic and visible. And finally, there's the mysterious case of coins that are rumored to be worth $98 million. Let's address this head on. There have been viral posts, videos, and articles online claiming that a 1967 penny has sold or is being valued at $98 million. Let's be clear, there is no public auction record or verified private sale of any Lincoln cent from 1967, or any year, for that matter, selling for anywhere close to that amount. Not even $1 million. These wild valuations are often based on hoaxes, clickbait, or massive exaggeration. However, sometimes the coin world is driven by hype and speculation, and that's where these myths take root. Could a one-of-a-kind error or discovery make a 1967 penny worth tens of thousands or even millions? It's theoretically possible, especially if a coin were discovered with a mint mark during a year when they weren't supposed to exist, or struck on the wrong planchet, or with an experimental alloy. But such a coin would need to be authenticated by major grading services like PCGS or NGC and confirmed to be unique. Still, that hasn't stopped collectors from checking their coins in hopes of finding that mythical $1 million cent. And honestly, that's part of the fun. The treasure hunt, the thrill of discovery, the idea that you could be holding onto a forgotten piece of history that's worth life-changing money. So what should you do if you have a 1967 penny? First, look at the condition. If it's bright red and uncirculated, it might be worth grading. If you see any strange doubling, off-center design, clips, or weird shapes, it might be an error, and you should definitely have it checked out. Second, look for anything unusual, especially if you somehow find a 1967 penny with a mint mark. It's very likely to be fake, but if it's genuine, you might have an ultra-rare coin worth a fortune. Third, remember that even common coins have value to collectors if they're pristine. A coin doesn't need to be worth millions to be worth something. And finally, if you ever do come across a coin being advertised as worth $98 million, take it with a grain of salt. But don't let that stop you from checking your change. Because in the world of coin collecting, the next big discovery is always just one pocket away. So the next time you find a 1967 penny in your change, don't throw it in a jar or ignore it. Look at it. Study it. You never know what secrets might be hiding on its surface. A tiny detail, an unusual strike, a glint of red luster, any one of these might be the clue that you've found something extraordinary. And who knows? Maybe one day, someone will really discover a 1967 penny so rare and so perfect, it really does fetch $98 million. Until then, the hunt continues, and the legend grows. Keep collecting, keep learning, and keep dreaming, because even a 1-cent coin can tell a $1 million story. Have you ever held a 2010 Lincoln penny in your hand and thought, what if this 1 cent could actually be worth a fortune? Most people see pennies as nearly worthless, often discarded or ignored. But what if I told you that a specific kind of 2010 Lincoln penny could be worth not just hundreds or thousands, but potentially up to $98 million? Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because today we're going deep into the story behind the 2010 Lincoln pennies, focusing on their mint marks, variations, historical background, collector appeal, and what exactly makes some of these copper coins shockingly valuable. Let's start with the basics. In 2010, the United States Mint released a new design for the Lincoln 1-cent coin. This came right after the special 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Series, which commemorated the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Those 2009 coins featured 4 different reverse designs chronicling the major stages of Lincoln's life, from his humble log cabin beginnings in Kentucky to his presidency. But in 2010, a new, permanent reverse design was introduced, and this is where things start to get very interesting for collectors. The 2010 Lincoln Cent features a reverse known as the Union Shield. This design was created by Lindo Bass and sculpted by Joseph Mena. It shows a shield with 13 vertical stripes, symbolizing the original 13 states joined together in a union. Across the top of the shield is a horizontal bar with the word E pluribus unum inscribed, and at the base is a scroll with the word 1 cent. This new design was intended to reflect Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War. Now, while this may seem like just another routine coin design change, collectors and numismatists immediately took notice. That's because every time there's a design change, there's potential for minting errors, low mintage varieties, and early strikes that could dramatically increase the value of specific coins. The 2010 Lincoln penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. That means you'll find mint marks of either P for Philadelphia, which actually doesn't appear on the coin, because Philadelphia traditionally doesn't use a mint mark on pennies, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. The most common versions you'll find in circulation are the P and D mint mark coins, which were mass-produced for general use. The S mint mark coins are proof coins, minted with extraordinary care and detail, and sold directly to collectors by the U.S. Mint. But here's where things start to heat up. Within these seemingly ordinary coins, there are rare varieties, error coins, and early strike-proof examples that can command jaw-dropping prices at auction. And some coin experts believe that a unique error or uncirculated condition 2010 Lincoln Cent, with the right provenance and collector demand, could theoretically sell for tens of millions of dollars. There's even buzz in collector circles about a specimen valued at up to $98 million due to its unique minting anomaly and perfect condition, although such valuations are speculative and largely based on market hype, rarity, and buyer demand. But before we talk about millions, let's explore what actually makes some of these coins rare and valuable. First up, die errors. Die errors occur when the coin die, the metal stamp that impresses the coin design, is damaged, misaligned, or otherwise flawed. One of the most famous types of die errors is the double die. This is when the coin's design appears to be duplicated slightly offset, leading to a ghost-like effect on the date, lettering, or design. If you find a 2010 penny with doubling on Lincoln's face, the motto, "In God We Trust," the date, or the Union Shield details, you might have something incredibly valuable. Next, off-center strikes. These happen when the blank coin planchet isn't properly aligned under the die. If your 2010 Lincoln penny shows only part of the design, or if the image is severely off-center, it could be a high-value error. Depending on how off-center it is and how much of the original design remains visible, such a coin could fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then there are planchet errors. These are mistakes that happen before the coin is even struck. Sometimes a penny is struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a coin that looks too small and weighs less than normal. Or it might be missing its outer copper layer, revealing the zinc core beneath. These kinds of errors are rare and often fetch premium prices from collectors who seek out anomalies. And what about proof coins? The 2010 S Lincoln Shield Cent is a proof-only coin, meaning it wasn't meant for circulation. It was minted with a highly polished die and planchet, giving it a mirror-like finish. These proof coins are often sold in sets by the U.S. Mint. But if one of these proof coins was somehow released into circulation or misstruck with an error, its value could skyrocket. But there's more. Even without an error, a 2010 penny can be incredibly valuable if it's in pristine condition. Collectors use the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from poor 1 to mint state 70. A penny graded MS-70 means it's in perfect, flawless condition. Coins like this, particularly those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can command massive premiums. One near-perfect 2010 penny sold for over $2,500 at auction. And as we mentioned earlier, speculation continues to swirl about an ultra-rare 2010 penny specimen, possibly an experimental strike or discovery coin, allegedly valued at $98 million. While that number may seem absurd, consider the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin, which sold for $18.9 million, or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, believed to be the first silver dollar ever struck by the U.S. Mint, which sold for over $10 million. So, what drives these sky-high prices? It's all about rarity, condition, demand, and sometimes the story behind the coin. When a coin has historical significance or an incredible backstory, like being found in a forgotten collection or surfacing after decades in private hands, it adds to its mystique and value. Let's talk briefly about the market. Over the last decade, interest in coin collecting has surged, thanks in part to social media, YouTube, and online auction sites. What was once a niche hobby has become more mainstream. People are digging through their pocket change, hoping to find that one special coin. The US Mint continues to produce new coin designs, and every new release adds fuel to the collecting fire. Some collectors focus on date and mint mark sets, others chase era coins, and some aim to assemble the highest quality collection possible. Right now, the 2010 Lincoln Cent with the Union Shield design remains a hot topic, especially among newer collectors. It's a relatively recent coin, so examples in uncirculated condition are still accessible, but as time goes on, high-grade examples will become harder to find. Coins kept in original mint sets, protective holders, or untouched proof sets are your best bet for quality. And who knows, one of those coins, in just the right condition, could end up being one of the most valuable Lincoln Cents ever sold. So, what should you do? First, start looking. Check your change, coin rolls, old jars, or collections passed down in the family. Look for 2010 pennies with sharp details, clean surfaces, and no signs of wear. Examine them under magnification. Are there any doubling effects? Is the strike perfectly centered? Does the coin have an unusual weight, color, or shape? If something seems off, it might just be a rare error. Next, consider getting your coin graded. Use professional services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They'll authenticate and assign a grade to your coin, which is critical for maximizing its resale value. And finally, stay informed. Follow coin forums, auction results, and numismatic news. The more you learn, the better your chances of spotting that one penny that everyone else overlooked. Because in the world of coin collecting, even a humble 1-cent piece can change your life. Maybe it's sitting in your pocket. Maybe it's hidden in your drawer. Or maybe it's waiting in a roll of coins from the bank. The next $1 million, or even $98 million, Lincoln Cent might just be in your hands. So the next time you see a 2010 penny, don't dismiss it. Look at it closely. Study it. Respect it. Because in the world of numismatics, it's not just a penny. It could be a hidden treasure.